You'll never believe what I did when I saw him holding her hand, taking her to meet his parents like I never existed. But here's what he didn't know. That cafe surveillance footage? The fake Instagram account? Oh honey. By the time I was done he lost his job, his family. Mess with the wrong woman. And you get a masterpiece of revenge. The first time I saw them together my entire world tilted on its axis. It was a casual Thursday evening, the kind where the sun sets lazily over the city, painting everything in golden hues. I had just finished my shift at the hospital, another grueling 12 hours as a nurse, and decided to stop by Daniel's favorite cafe to surprise him with the news. The news that after 3 years together I was finally ready to move in with him. But fate had other plans. There he was, sitting at our usual corner table, the one where we'd shared countless cups of coffee and whispered dreams of the future. Except this time he wasn't alone. A woman with sleek auburn hair and a confident smile sat across from him, her fingers tracing the rim of her latte cup as she laughed at something he said. And Daniel, my Daniel, was looking at her like she was the only person in the room. I froze, my grip tightening around the small velvet box in my pocket, the key to the apartment I'd just put a deposit on. The apartment I'd imagined us filling with memories. Then the unthinkable happened. He reached across the table and took her hand. Not the casual, friendly gesture of someone meeting a colleague. No, this was intimate. Familiar. The way his thumb brushed over her knuckles, it was a touch I knew well. A touch that had once been reserved only for me. My breath hitched and I stumbled back, pressing myself against the brick wall outside the cafe before they could see me. The cold roughness of the bricks dug into my palms, grounding me as my mind raced. How long has this been going on? Who is she? Was anything between us ever real? I forced myself to look again, my heart pounding so loudly I was sure they could hear it. Daniel was smiling now, that soft, private smile he used to give me when he thought no one was watching. And then he said the words that shattered me completely. I can't wait for you to meet my parents this weekend. The world blurred. Meet his parents? His mother, who still called me every Sunday to check in. His father, who'd pulled me aside last Christmas and said, "You're the best thing that's ever happened to our son." This wasn't just some fling. This was serious. And I had no idea. I don't remember driving home. The next thing I knew I was sitting on my bathroom floor, still in my scrubs, staring at my reflection in the mirror. My eyes were red-rimmed, my cheeks streaked with tears I didn't remember shedding. How could he do this to me? I grabbed my phone, my fingers trembling as I pulled up his text. Just this morning he'd sent me a sweet message. "Can't wait to see you tonight, beautiful. I miss you." Why? All of it. I scrolled further back looking for signs I might have missed. The late nights at work. The sudden business trips. The way he'd been distant lately, brushing off my concerns with a quick, "I'm just tired." I should have known. But I refused to be the naive girlfriend who cried herself to sleep while he moved on without a second thought. Well, if Daniel thought he could discard me like yesterday's news, he was about to learn just how wrong he was. I wiped my face, took a deep breath, and opened my laptop. Time to do some digging. It didn't take long to find her. Sophia Loren. A freelance photographer with a sleek Instagram feed full of exotic travel shots and carefully curated coffee dates. And there, buried in the comments of a post from 2 months ago, was Daniel's name. "Wish I was there with you." My stomach churned. 2 months. He'd been seeing her for 2 months while telling me he loved me. I dug deeper, my hands shaking as I hacked into his email. What I found was worse than I imagined. Flirty exchanges. Hotel confirmations. Plans for their future. And then the final blow, an email to his mother. "Mom, I'm bringing someone special home this weekend. I think you're really going to like her." The date on the email? 3 days ago. 3 days ago he'd been in my bed, kissing me goodbye before work like nothing was wrong. That's when the numbness faded, replaced by something darker. Something sharper. Revenge. I could have confronted him. Screamed. Cried. Begged for an explanation. But where was the fun in that? No, Daniel didn't deserve my tears. He deserved to feel the same bone-deep betrayal I was feeling right now. He deserved to watch as the life he'd built with her crumbled around him. And I knew exactly how to make that happen. First, I needed to get close to her. Sophia thought she was stepping into a perfect love story. Little did she know I was about to rewrite the ending. I picked up my phone, opened Instagram, and sent her a message. Hi Sophia. I'm new to the city and love your photography. Any chance you do private shoots? I'd love to book you for a session. She replied within minutes. Absolutely. Let's chat over coffee. I smiled for the first time that night. Perfect. The coffee shop was one of those trendy, minimalist places with exposed brick walls and overpriced avocado toast. I arrived early, choosing a corner table with a clear view of the entrance. My hands were steady as I stirred my latte, but my pulse was a drumbeat in my ears. This was it, the first move in a game Daniel had forced me to play. The bell above the door chimed and there she was. Sophia Loren looked even more polished in person. Her auburn hair cascaded in loose waves over a cream-colored blazer, her smile effortless as she scanned the room. When her eyes landed on me, she waved, her steps confident as she approached. You must be Lena, she said, sliding into the seat across from me. I'm so glad you reached out. Lena. The fake name I'd given her. It felt fitting, a mask for the woman I was about to become. I've been following your work for months, I lied smoothly. Your travel shots are incredible. You must have the most interesting life. She laughed, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. Oh, it's not as glamorous as it looks. Just a lot of early flights and editing marathons. I leaned in, playing the eager client. Well, I'd love to capture some professional shots. Maybe something romantic? My boyfriend and I just hit our 1-year mark. Her expression softened. That's so sweet. Congratulations. If only you knew. Over the next hour I learned everything I needed to know. Sophia was 28, originally from Paris, and had moved to the city 2 years ago. She loved red wine, hated cilantro, and most importantly was madly in love with Daniel. Actually, she said, lowering her voice like she was sharing a secret, I'm meeting his parents this weekend. I nearly choked on my coffee. Play cool. Wow, that's huge. I forced excitement into my voice. You must be serious. She blushed. We are. He's different, you know. Not like anyone I've dated before. Oh, I know. I tilted my head. How long have you two been together? About 3 months. 3 months. A full month longer than his emails had suggested. The timeline clicked into place like a bullet loading into a chamber. Daniel had been cheating for 3 months. By the end of our meeting, Sophia had agreed to a photo shoot, a surprise gift for my imaginary boyfriend. I paid her deposit in cash, careful to leave no digital trail. As we said goodbye, I hesitated, then laid the first trap. You know, you look so familiar, I mused. Have we met before? She frowned. I don't think so. Maybe through a mutual friend. I pulled out my phone, scrolling through my contacts. Do you know Daniel Hartwell? Her breath hitched. Just for a second, so fast most people would have missed it. But I was watching. Daniel. Yeah, actually, he's my... She caught herself. Wait, how do you know him? I smiled. Small world. We used to work together. He's dating my best friend, Emily. Such a cute couple. Sophia's face drained of color. Bullseye. I left the cafe first, my heart racing. That night I knew Daniel would get a panicked call. Who is Emily? Why did you lie to me? But I wasn't done yet. Back at my apartment, I logged into an old email account, one I'd created years ago and never used. With a few clicks, I forwarded every incriminating email, every hotel confirmation, every "I miss you" Daniel had sent me during his trips with Sophia. The recipient? Sophia's inbox. Subject line: Ask him about the key under the flower pot. A detail only someone who'd been in his apartment would know. Then I waited. It took less than an hour. My phone buzzed with a notification. Sophia had posted an Instagram story. A blurry shot of her feet pacing a hardwood floor, the caption, "When you realize you're the other woman." I refreshed Daniel's profile. User not found. She'd blocked him. I imagined him frantic, calling her over and over, getting sent straight to voicemail. The lies unraveling in real time. A slow smile spread across my face. Round one goes to me. Because tomorrow I'd be at that family dinner. And Daniel was about to learn what happens when you break the wrong woman. The morning of the dinner, I woke up before dawn, my nerves humming with anticipation. I had spent days preparing for this moment, selecting the perfect dress, rehearsing my lines in the mirror, and most importantly, ensuring I had an invitation. Because Daniel's mother, Margaret, had no idea her son was a liar. I picked up my phone and dialed a number I knew by heart. Margaret? It's me. I was thinking of dropping by tonight. I've missed you both so much. Her delighted squeal made my chest ache. Oh, sweetheart. Of course. Daniel didn't tell us you were coming. It's a surprise, I said sweetly. The Hartwell family home was exactly as I remembered, warm, inviting, the kind of house that smelled like cinnamon and old books. My hands trembled as I parked my car behind Daniel's, noting the unfamiliar sedan beside it. Sophia's car. I took a deep breath, smoothed my dress, and walked to the front door. Through the stained glass, I could see shadows moving inside, laughter, the clink of wine glasses. Then Margaret's voice, bright with excitement. Daniel, the door. The moment he opened it, time froze. Daniel's face went pale, his grip tightening on the doorframe. What the hell are you doing here? He hissed. I smiled, tilting my head. Missed you too, baby. Then louder for the room behind him. Sorry I'm late. The dining room fell silent as I stepped inside. Margaret gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Daniel's father, Richard, frowned, his gaze darting between me and Sophia, who sat frozen in my usual seat beside Daniel's grandmother. Sophia's wine glass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the hardwood. You, she whispered. Margaret stood abruptly. Daniel. What is going on? Daniel opened his mouth, but I spoke first. Oh my God, I breathed, feigning shock. Sophia? From the coffee shop. I turned to Daniel, widening my eyes. Wait, is this the work friend you've been having dinner with? The room erupted. Margaret's voice cut through the chaos. Emily, sweetheart, who is this? I bit my lip, playing the heartbroken girlfriend to perfection. I didn't realize they were serious. Daniel told me she was just a colleague. Sophia shot to her feet. He told me you were an ex. Margaret made a strangled noise. Daniel Alexander Hartwell. Explain. Now. Daniel's mouth opened and closed like a fish. I let the silence stretch, savoring his panic before pulling out my phone. Maybe this will help. With one tap, I played the recording, Daniel's voice, clear as day from last week. You're the only one I want. Sophomore Emily doesn't mean anything to me. Sophia fled first, tears streaming down her face. Daniel chased her, but not before his father threw a glass against the wall, roaring, "Get out." Margaret collapsed into a chair, her face ashen. How could you do this to her? To us? I knelt beside her, squeezing her hand. I'm so sorry. I didn't want you to find out like this. Her eyes welled. You're too good for him. The next move as I drove away, my phone buzzed. Sophia. We need to talk. I smiled. Game on. The message from Sophia glowed on my phone screen like a live wire. We need to talk. I waited a full hour before responding. Let her stew. Let her imagine all the ways I could destroy what little was left of her relationship with Daniel. When I finally replied, it was with icy precision. Meet me at the Velvet Hour. 8 p.m. Come alone. The Velvet Hour was a dimly lit lounge downtown, the kind of place where secrets were traded like currency. I arrived early, securing a booth in the back where the shadows clung thickest. When Sophia walked in, she looked nothing like the polished woman from the cafe. Her hair was pulled into a messy bun, her eyes red-rimmed, her blazer wrinkled like she'd slept in it. She slid into the booth, her voice raw. You knew. I sipped my gin and tonic. I did. And you just let it happen. I set my glass down with a quiet clink. No. I orchestrated it. Her breath hitched. For the next hour I laid it all bare. The emails. The lies. The way Daniel had been playing us against each other like pawns. Sophia listened in stunned silence, her fingers tightening around her whiskey glass until her knuckles turned white. When I finished, she exhaled sharply. He told me you were manipulative, that you'd try to break us up if you found out. I laughed darkly. Funny. He told me the same thing about you. Her face twisted. I believed him. Of course you did, I said softly. He's good at that. A beat of silence. Then, what do we do now? I leaned forward, lowering my voice. You want revenge? Sophia's eyes burned. More than anything. Then here's what we're going to do. I laid out the plan with clinical precision. Sophia would pretend to forgive Daniel, luring him back in. Meanwhile, I'd leak anonymous tips to his boss about his shady business trips. Trips that, coincidentally, always aligned with Sophia's photography assignments. But the final move, I murmured, is yours. Sophia's lips curled. I know exactly how to break him. 2 nights later, Daniel showed up at Sophia's apartment, flowers in hand, begging for forgiveness. She let him grovel for an hour before relenting, tears shimmering in her eyes as she whispered, I just need to trust you again. Daniel, ever the narcissist, ate it up. What he didn't know. Sophia was recording every word. 1 week later, Daniel's world imploded. First, his boss called him into HR. Someone had forwarded very detailed expense reports showing he'd billed client dinners on nights he was with Sophia. Then his parents publicly disowned him on Facebook, posting, We raised you to be honest. You are not our son. But the killing blow came from Sophia. She uploaded their entire conversation to Instagram, Daniel sobbing, confessing to everything, even calling me crazy for not accepting the breakup. The internet exploded. As Daniel's life burned, I sent him one last text. Now you know how it feels. He never replied. But Sophia did. Drinks tonight. I smiled. The first time I saw Daniel after everything fell apart, I almost didn't recognize him. It was a rainy Tuesday afternoon, 3 weeks after Sophia's Instagram post had gone viral. I was leaving my favorite bookstore when I spotted him sitting alone at a cafe across the street, hunched over a coffee, his hair disheveled, his clothes wrinkled. The confident man who had once charmed me with lazy Sunday mornings and whispered promises was gone. In his place sat a ghost. I should have walked away. But I crossed the street instead. The bell above the cafe door jingled as I stepped inside. Daniel didn't look up until I pulled out the chair across from him. When he saw me, his entire body tensed. Emily. His voice was rough, like he hadn't slept in days. Daniel. I kept my tone neutral, but my pulse roared in my ears. He stared at me, his eyes bloodshot. Are you here to gloat? I tilted my head. Would you blame me if I was? A muscle in his jaw twitched. I lost everything because of you. I laughed, sharp and humorless. No. You lost everything because you're a liar. Silence settled between us, thick and heavy. Rain tapped against the windows, the sound almost soothing. Finally, Daniel exhaled. What do you want? I leaned forward, my voice low. I want you to admit it. Admit what? That you never loved me. That I was just a placeholder until something better came along. His expression flickered, guilt, regret, something darker. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? He ran a hand through his hair, frustration bleeding into his voice. I don't know, okay? I got scared. You were talking about moving in, about the future, and you panicked. I finished for him. So you sabotaged it. He didn't deny it. I should have felt vindicated. I should have stood up, walked out, left him to drown in his own regret. But then he said something I didn't expect. I'm sorry. 2 words. Simple. Quiet. And for the first time since this began, I believed him. I sat back, studying him. The man I'd loved, the man I'd hated, was broken. And as much as I wanted to revel in that, all I felt was tired. Doesn't change anything, I said finally. Daniel nodded, his shoulders slumping. I know. I stood, grabbing my bag. This was it. The end. Daniel looked up at me, his eyes hollow. Do you think, he stopped, swallowed. Do you think you'll ever forgive me? I hesitated. Then I turned and walked away. Sophia was waiting for me outside, leaning against my car, 2 coffees in hand. She handed me one, her eyebrow arched. Well. I took a sip, the warmth spreading through my chest. It's over. He grinned. Good. Now let's go get drunk. As we drove off, I glanced once more at the cafe. Daniel was still sitting there, alone in the rain. And for the first time in months, I didn't look back. The invitation arrived on a Thursday. Thick ivory cardstock, embossed gold lettering, Sophia Loren and Daniel Hartwell request the pleasure of your company at their wedding. I stared at it for a full minute before bursting into laughter. Sophia had outdone herself. We'd planned this moment for months. After the cafe, after Daniel's hollow apology, Sophia had suggested the ultimate revenge. Let's make him believe he won. So we did. She'd reconciled with Daniel, playing the forgiving girlfriend while secretly documenting every lie, every manipulation. I'd stayed on the sidelines, letting him think I was out of the picture until now. Because this wedding was going to be his worst nightmare. The ceremony was held at the same venue where Daniel had once promised me forever. I arrived early, slipping into the back row as guests filtered in. The decor was lavish, white roses, twinkling lights, a string quartet playing canon in D. Daniel stood at the altar, smug in his tuxedo, scanning the crowd for Sophia. Little did he know she wasn't coming. At exactly 4:30 p.m., the scheduled start time, the music stopped. A hush fell over the crowd as the venue screens flickered to life. And there was Sophia, pre-recorded, smiling sweetly in her wedding dress. Hello, everyone. If you're seeing this, it means Daniel's finally realized I'm not showing up. Gasps rippled through the room. Daniel's face drained of color as the video continued. See, here's the thing, you don't get a happy ending after what you did. So instead of vows, let's watch something more honest. The screen cut to security footage. Daniel in a hotel bar 2 weeks prior, flirting with a bridesmaid. The crowd erupted. As Daniel lunged for the AV booth, the screens changed again, this time to a montage. Him lying to Sophia's face. Him bad-mouthing his own parents. Him sobbing to me in the cafe, only to call Sophia crazy hours later. The coup de grace. A text thread with his best man. Once we're married, I'll file for divorce and take half her photography business. The guests stood in unison, some throwing programs at him, others storming out. Daniel was left alone at the altar, just as he deserved. Sophia met me outside, already in jeans and a leather jacket, her wedding dress stuffed in a trash bag. Happy? She asked, lighting a cigarette. I grinned. Ecstatic. We walked away as the venue descended into chaos behind us, Daniel's shouts fading into the distance. The first time I truly breathed again was on a misty morning in Montmartre, standing beneath the awning of a corner cafe as the scent of fresh croissants and bitter espresso curled through the air. 6 months had passed since the wedding, since Sophia and I had left Daniel in ruins and walked away without looking back. I hadn't planned on Paris. But then again, I hadn't planned on any of this. The idea came to me in the middle of the night, 3 weeks after the implosion. I was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling of my apartment, the same apartment I had once imagined sharing with Daniel, when it hit me like a thunderclap. I didn't recognize myself anymore. The Emily who had loved blindly, who had believed in forever, was gone. The Emily who had orchestrated revenge with cold precision? He terrified me. I needed to disappear. So I did what any self-respecting woman with a broken heart and a vindictive streak would do. I bought a one-way ticket to Paris. The city was nothing like I expected. I thought it would be all golden light and romance. But Paris in November was gray and moody, the Seine swollen with rain, the streets slick with fallen leaves. It suited me. I rented a tiny flat in the 5th arrondissement, its windows overlooking a cobblestone courtyard where an old man played accordion every evening. I didn't speak the language. I didn't know a soul. It was perfect. At first I did nothing but wander. I got lost in the Louvre at closing time, standing alone in front of the winged Victory of Samothrace until a guard gently shooed me out. I ate sole Meunier at a brasserie where the waiter called me mademoiselle with a wink. I bought a ridiculous beret from a street vendor and wore it unironically. And slowly, without realizing it, I began to heal. It arrived on a Thursday, slipped under my door in a cream-colored envelope. My name, Emily, written in a familiar looping script. Severe. I tore it open, my heart pounding. If you're reading this, you've probably run farther than I thought. I hope Paris is as beautiful as they say. I hope you're wearing something outrageously French. Mostly I hope you're happy. P.S. Daniel tried to sue me. It went very badly for him. P.P.S. Come home when you're ready. Or don't. But know you're missed. I laughed, then cried, then laughed again. That night, I sat on my balcony with a bottle of Bordeaux and watched the Eiffel Tower sparkle in the distance. Thought about Daniel. About the anger that had carried me across an ocean. About the woman I had been and the woman I was becoming. And for the first time I felt something unfamiliar. Not hatred. Not regret. Peace. Think.